Listening Activity 2.1. Listen to an interview with a healthcare expert discussing the history of healthcare and decide how many items from Activity 1 are mentioned in the interview.
Hello, and welcome to Body Care. With me today is Daniel Adams, who's just written a book with an attention-grabbing title of Everything You Always Wanted to Know About the History of Healthcare. But why did you choose such a long title?
Well, as you say, it's attention-grabbing, but also, most importantly, it gives the reader an idea of the general tone of the book. If I had named it The History of Healthcare, I might have scared off the very people who'd enjoy reading it. This isn't a heavy book packed with detailed descriptions of medical achievements across time. Instead, it's a lighthearted look at those aspects of healthcare, the parts we see every day, but often don't know the story behind.
Yes. For example, Mr. Adams, I notice you write about a toothbrush.
That's right. Many of us, I'm sure, take the good old toothbrush and toothpaste for granted and assume they've been around forever. But more modern types of toothpaste weren't developed until the 1800s, and the first nylon toothbrush was introduced as late as 1938, almost immediately after nylon itself was invented.
So, what did people use before that? Did they just let their teeth rot and fall out?
Actually, no. The ancient Egyptians around 3000 BC used something called a chew stick. Basically, a twig they chewed at one end to make it soft and frayed, then used it to clean their teeth. Later, in the 15th century, the Chinese created the first real toothbrush. Instead of nylon, they used tough hairs from the back of a Siberian wild pig's neck, set into a bamboo or bone handle.
Wasn't that rather painful for the gums?
Yes, when toothbrushes reached Europe, many refined upper-class people preferred softer horsehair bristles. Can't say I blame them.
No, indeed. And you mentioned toothpaste. What were the origins of that?
Well, again, this goes back to the ancient Egyptians who used a mixture of wine vinegar and pumice stone.
That's the gray stone from volcanoes?
That's right. And they ground this up into a powder along with eggshells and a few other ingredients and rubbed it into their teeth with their finger or a chew stick. But if you think that's unpleasant, spare a thought for the poor old Romans who cleaned their teeth with toothpaste made from human urine.
Really? Urine?
Yes, and they actually used it in its liquid form as a kind of mouthwash. But it wasn't such a silly idea. You see, modern dentists realized that urine contains ammonia, which helps whiten the teeth. And in fact, ammonia is still used as an active ingredient in toothpaste today.
Fascinating. Your book covers lots of interesting healthcare topics, like the history of glasses, ambulances, and even plaster casts. But I'd like to ask about the more serious topic of anesthesia, which you dedicate a full chapter to. Anesthetics is a fairly recent invention, isn't it?
That's right. Before its discovery in the middle of the 19th century, surgery was an extremely painful experience, an absolutely terrifying option for a patient. In fact, many preferred to put up with their illnesses rather than go through the hardship of an operation.
Wasn't whiskey used to deaden the senses and relieve pain?
Yes, but it increased bleeding, making patients more likely to bleed to death during surgery. The medical world needed a safe alternative.
I see you mentioned three anesthetics: nitrous oxide, ether, and chloroform. Can you tell us about these?
All were known before their use as anesthetics. Nitrous oxide, or laughing gas, was discovered in 1772, but thought to be deadly. British chemist Humphrey Davy tested it on himself 30 years later and found it relieved pain. American dentist Horace Wells saw its potential in 1844 after participating in a demonstration where a participant felt no pain after injuring his leg.
It's fascinating how these discoveries changed medicine. What impact did they have on surgery?
They revolutionized surgery by allowing for pain-free operations, significantly improving patient outcomes and making complex procedures possible.
It's incredible how far we've come in medical practices. Thank you for sharing this valuable information.
My pleasure. Understanding our medical history helps us appreciate modern advancements even more.